So in the last video, we saw how to connect to MySQL with PHP through the mysqli connection. So in this example, we're actually going to see how we can now take this connection, because after we make the connection, we can now do things with it. We're going to take this connection and we're going to make queries with it. So we can do that via the con. So con, this connection, is a object of sorts, and we can use this arrow syntax to grab a function off that object. So we're going to do con query, and this query function can take some SQL and this is basically saying, hey, if this query succeeds, do what's in this if statement. So it's always kind of important to have these conditionals to make sure that you're not goofing something up. So error with the query, and then we can print that error with con, another error, arrow, error, and that'll just be an error property. This will have a string. And so best practice says that we should put our SQL in a separate variable. So we're going to make a $sign and write a variable, and inside of a string we will create a database. So we're going to say create database, and going off of our the coding school example that I've been doing for weeks, we will do that coding school. And then now we'll just take this variable and plug it in. And so we'll echo a message. And so if this works, then we should get the successfully created database message. Whoops, did not mean to refresh the whole thing. I should have just, there we go. I mean, it still worked. So there we go. So basically we made a connection with MySQL, mysqli, using PHP. And then we used we used that connection and used its query method to run some SQL. Now you might realize that just like when we were doing raw SQL in the command line, since we already created the database, that database is permanently in MySQL now. So if we try to refresh and run again, we will get that error message. So now you can see that error. Hey, this is the error message here, and this might be better like that. And then refresh. There we go. Error. Can't create database coding school. Database exists. So you might recognize that as the SQL error that we got when we were trying to run the same command twice and create a database that already existed. So this error message will return whatever SQL error gets run in the MySQL database. And so that's how you can create a query in MySQL with PHP.